Yo, what it is, everybody. So today what we're going to be covering is going to be a gold buy position that I took this week. It was on Tuesday. It was a nice position that I took. It was about 144 pips of a reward. Very nice risk reward opportunity. And I felt like it was a great trade to give you all some insight on. I feel like it could help a lot of people. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a quick market overview, just going over gold, how it was moving previously and what kind of led up to me being on the buy side. Obviously, you can see this is very bullish. It usually always is. And just give you a little background. So we're going to do this video in one take. So apologize and forgive me if any bloopers or anything like that. But the past year, man, it's been about a year since I uploaded on YouTube. It was my first video. I think it only got like 180 views or something like that. But nevertheless, I'm grateful for it, and I'm back. So this past year has been pretty interesting, man. There's been a lot of gains, a lot of growth in my trading journey. Taking a lot of funding challenges. That was a big thing for me last year in 2023. Passed a lot of challenges, made some profit splits, got some nice payouts, some big gains, and been able to help and teach people a lot this past year. So it's been growing on me as a teacher and also a leader in this in this industry for my tribe. So right now what I've been doing is just building. I have a course built up. It's called Confluence World. That course will be pretty extensive, going over a lot of different strategies, pretty much everything that's pretty much packed into my Confluence trading strategy. So a lot of concepts that I use on a daily, and a lot of concepts that any trader that studies the way I trade would be able to learn from, and also be able to profit in the markets from. But other than that, I have a course coming out in maybe a few weeks, possibly about a month or less. A free ebook that I'm working on that's going to be nice, and it's going to be great for beginners that are pretty much anyone. You could be advanced or a beginner. It could be a refresher for an advanced trader, just something to kind of reset your mind mentally. Of course, everything in trading is a huge psychological game, and then also it'll be great for beginners. So other than those two, I've been growing my tribe, my little community, the Confluence World community. I have a free channel where I send breakdowns, market updates, trade ideas randomly, and just tips in psychology, stuff that can help any trader. And then also I have a private Telegram channel, which is the Confluence Trading community chat. And in there we do live trading, webinars, trade ideas, basically trade signals, everything, the whole nine. So that's pretty much what I've been working on the past year. And then now, I have been very motivated to come back to YouTube and start dropping videos here. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So overall, you can see that gold is very bullish, right? So we're going to just mark up a little bit about what's going on in the past. So you can see we were trending bearish up in here. It was a nice counter trend on this bullish push. You have lower high points everywhere, and then you can see up in here is where the market started to kind of hover, and we haven't really made any more lows, and we start to hover up in here and form support. So right up in here is like one of those clues where usually if we're in a bullish form, we wait for some type of shift in momentum, some breaks of structure, and you can see that we had a nice break of structure where we had some resistance built up in here. And if I was to go down to like the 1 hour time frame, you'll be able to see that clear, as you can see. So price made a new higher high, and then we continued to counter trend up in here. So all up in here was just counter trend movement, lots of lower high points, right? Up in here, this would have been nothing that I would have really got involved in until up in here. So the biggest thing that stood out to me is right here where we have an area of lower high point again. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this over, mark my lower high point, and then you see we have to the right resistance. So this level right here was very important and very relevant when it came to this shift in momentum that happened on this setup. This setup basically was a break and then a retest of a confluence level where we have resistance, and we end up holding support here. A lot of entry confirmations up in there, and then we also had the whole transition phase of a bullish move where you see higher low points forming all throughout here, and the continued momentum flowing up. So this was a very beautiful buy. I wasn't in this buy. I wish I was. And obviously you can see it went crazy, lots and lots of pips. And this would have been one of those things where you can either go on the 4 hour and you could see this, and you could have used the fib from down here, or on a 1 hour time frame, whichever. But overall, nice bullish move that pushed up. So up in here is where things started to get interesting, and this is where I started entering into the market and also analyzing. So I'm gonna go to the 4 hour, and you can see here, let's get this together. So right up in here is where we had our last higher low point. So this is where I'm gonna draw my fib, and I'm gonna take it from here, point A to point B on the fibs, and bullish to bullish wick, and you have a 23.6 retracement. So right in here is where I was analyzing and entering the market. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use the replay tool for now, just so we can see everything clear, and not be dealing with all of this to the right. So up in here is where I was interested in taking buys in the market. So I'm gonna go down now to the lower time frame, and before I even do that, just looking at this on a 1 hour, you can see off rip that we have a nice little area of structure where we have some resistance here, right? So usually during these times, I'm going down to 30-minute, 15, and I'm trying to see structure on the lower time frames to actually spot the shift in momentum. Okay, because at the end of the day, I don't take trades unless we get some type of shift, breaks the structure, and I can see momentum changing from bearish to now bullish. So right up in here is where we had our most recent lower high point. If you look to the left and above, we had lower highs here, lower highs here. So obviously the market was counter trending. So this is bearish type flow up in here, temporary, of course. During this time, you can see we had a higher low point start to form during this retracement. So this was something that was key, that stood out to me a lot. It was a big clue to lead me to kind of pay attention in this area, because we could get a potential shift in the market, which didn't happen. So right here is where we had that break of structure where the price made a new high. So seeing that, all I'm doing is going ahead and marking these things off. Everything that's going on, I'm progressively marking it off, so that way I'm on point, I'm staying aware of what's going on, and I'm not getting lost at all. So once we price made this new higher high, at that point I went down to the 15-minute time frame, and during these times I'm either waiting for some type of shift in momentum where we end up breaking and we get a higher low point with some support build up, which happened here, or either some type of break or structure. So a lot of times, if a lot of people that have been tuned into my videos in my channels, in the Confluence World Telegram channels, they've seen printing breakdowns, and you'll see that I catch a lot of setups where we get this type of movement here: lower high point, higher low, break of structure, pullback, and a retest of structure where it was previous resistance, now using that support, engulfings up in this area, and then entries to push up. So that happens a lot. So that's one of the things that I was waiting on, either that or some type of movement where we end up pushing up, breaking structure, and then forming some type of support and getting a couple bounces off the support to then confirm it to be valid and then take entries up in here. So as you can see, that happened right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and use a fib again, but this is going to be a sub fib on the lower time frames. So this is something I use also. Point A to point B is where I put my fib here. You can see we have a 38.2 retracement on the sub fib, and then also we have a nice level of support buildup. So now combining all of these things that we've already built up from our analysis, very patient, very methodical approach here. You can look at this on the 30-minute. You can see we have nice level of support, nice seller's exhaustion at the bottom side of these candles, which is great to see. So during that time, I'm on a 15-minute time frame, and this is where you test your patience and you just sit on your hands and kind of be still. So at this point, once we had this one touch here, at first obviously I wouldn't have known this was going to be a support yet. So this is where I'm being patient, waiting, and I'm seeing these candles starting to touch up in this area and reject. You see non-stop seller's exhaustion, rejection candles, things like that, dojis, where the market is not really succeeding on breaking this level. And then boom, entry confirmation right here, which is a bullish variation. It's 1, 2, 3 entry confirmation. So this is where I enter the market at. And go ahead and use the position tool, buy there. Stop loss was below this area of support, below the moving average, giving it room to breathe. And that was, I believe it was about 45 pips. Did I use about 45 pips? Yep. So about a 45 pip stop loss. I'll just go ahead and place this here. And my TP was based off of the previous high. So usually with a fib, for me, the way I trade, I usually hold my trades to the negative 27%, just depending on the setup. But being that this was a 4-hour fib, you can see this target was all the way up here, the negative 27%. That's usually the TP for, you know, the setups that I take. So knowing that the target was all the way up there in this gold, the way this thing moves, it moves pretty hard. So I wasn't really open to holding the trade that long. It was just depending on how it was moving. But as I go down to 30-minute, you can see overall this was our previous high in the market. So at that point, I was open to holding the trade up in here, and I wanted to kind of just find a whole level. So right here is where I found 22.65 even. So that was where my TP was at. So 22.65, the whole level, and that was for. So when I entered, it was for 144 pips. Obviously, you know, I'm doing this and redoing it now, so it looks a little different. But overall, 139.6.8. That's 140 pips. So 140 pip gain. I held it up to this target up in here to the high. And the thing that stood out to me about this move, and also that was kind of vital to this whole movement, was these higher low points that was forming during this move. So things like this is what I utilize to be able to take more entries and also squeeze every bit of this move that was presented here. So something that I learned from a great trading book, which was The Best Loser Wins. It was written by Tom Hoggart. And I'm sure if any of you all do any psychological videos or exercises on YouTube, you'll see, search up Tom Hoggart, The Best Loser Wins. And a concept that he talked about that stood out to me, and I tell it to all the members that's in my channels, in my Telegram channels, is he said in there, and also in other videos, of course, he said what he do is whenever he get a winning setup, he squeezes every bit of life out of that setup. So he takes advantage of opportunities that come into the market during this setup. So usually in, you know, some good flowing setups, you get other opportunities for re-entries. Those opportunities come off of higher low points, some type of retracements, and kind of retest of structure areas. Okay. So once we got this entry, at that point, all I wanted to see was how price moved from there on out. I was pretty confident with where we were based off of, you know, all this confluence that built up from my whole entire analysis. The market then pushed up into profit, which was nice, right? Nice bullish candles, and then we end up starting to form structure. So right up in here is where I'm just keeping track of what things, how things are flowing. You have higher low points, higher low points, higher low points. So all throughout this time, I'm chilling. The market ended up coming back down right to where my entry was, as you can see. And we basically just retested where my entry was, and then we had a nice bullish engulfing. So boom, all I'm doing, I'm on a 15-minute, 30-minute, and I'm just keeping track of how things are moving. And I spotted this as another entry opportunity for me to go ahead and get into the market. So boom, another low risk entry right here. The market then pushed up, made a new high, and of course we start making higher low points. And all I'm doing is literally just flowing with structure. I see here that we have a nice level of support, market off, and then obviously I'm keeping track with how these candlesticks are looking. And on a 15-minute time frame, you can see at these areas of support and higher low points, you see bullish engulfings. You see another bullish engulfing here, which is nice. So back-to-back bullish engulfings. On the 15-minute, you also see the third entry confirmation, which was a bullish variation right there. So all entries, 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 entries. So I'm entering on all of these areas of the market, squeezing every bit of this move that I possibly can. I'm squeezing every bit of it, like literally all the life out of this setup, I'm taking it. And we end up pushing right up into profit, nice bullish candles. And then from there, it ended up hitting our TP for 140 pips. So this was a great move, and it's just a great example of being able to squeeze every bit of a setup that you can out of, you know, it could be a small move, a large move, whatever. You just have to be able to get down to these time frames, know where you're at in the market, keep track of everything, and also just being able to flip between time frames. Because if you see here, this area of support that I was naming, if I didn't see any entry confirmation on the 15-minute, I could have went back to the 30, and look what we have, bullish engulfing at a little area of support off of a higher low point. So all of these things like that, looking at the 30-minute time frame, you see these candles, they have lots of sellers exhaustion at the bottom side. So that's going along with everything that I analyzed earlier. And then also those entry confirmations that I'm seeing on the 15-minute. So at the end of the day, it's like when you see bullish engulfings, you see all these exhaustion, you see sellers exhaustion at a support level, during a higher low point. Like, all of these things are not coincidence. These things don't just happen for no reason. It's happening because at the end of the day, it's signaling that the bullish presence is strong. The bullish presence is strong in this area, and we have to be able to read and react. This was enough for me to be confident to just hold this trade, let it play out, and then going up into the early morning, you see about 5 a.m. up in here is when we hit TP, and I closed out 140 pips. Very happy, very satisfied with this move. It was a nice 1 to 3 risk reward opportunity, which was also great. And other than that, I was pretty much set for the day. And that was really the only trade that I took all week. So it was a nice gain, enough for me to be able to be happy with and also be comfortable for the week. But that's pretty much it on this video. I just wanted to show you all a nice flowing setup that I took this week, and just some insight on the way that I take setups and also things that could possibly help you in your own journey. I hope this made sense. I hope it was clear. And if any questions, any concerns at all, please feel free to reach out. You can message me on here. You can comment or message me on Instagram. However, also I do want to mention that moving forward, I will be on here consistently. I will be dropping more videos. You can also comment below and let me know any topics, any things that you all struggle with or you want to hear me talk about. I'll be covering a lot of various different things, but I do want to hear you all's opinions and some feedback. Let me know what you think about this video, this setup, if you would have taken it, if it was clear. And other than that, I would appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel, the videos, and from there we just continue to roll. We're going to continue to get better, get pips, and continue to gain in the markets. Peace out.